Okay, let's talk about the number 6. So the number 6, I like to think of as the heart chakra, and it is the connection in the yogic system that is like a rainbow that is crossing your chest. Um, I love this because in different traditions they talk about the pyramids. So there's an upper pyramid that is pointing down, and then there's a lower pyramid that is pointing up. And the center point is the heart chakra. So you can think of it like there's 3 chakras that are going this way, in the crown chakra, the third eye, and the throat, and they're all touching the heart. Down below, there's 3 chakras, which is the first chakra, which is your grounding cord, your second chakra, which is your sexual chakra, and it's where the seat of joy is, and your third chakra, which is your emotional center, and that point is also touching the heart. The domain of the masculine is light, so it's associated with the upper triad, and the domain of the feminine is the lower triad, pointing up. Okay, so as a result, it's like the feminine is in the process of birthing that masculine. So you get those 2 triangles coming together and you get the 6-pointed star. That's where that 6-pointed star comes from, that merging of all of those together. But the central focus of the upper triad and the lower triad is actually the heart. So the number 6 is related to spirituality, and that come from the heart, where most religions talk about compassion and kindness and consideration and friendliness and caring and all of those things that we're supposed to be good people if we are caring and loving and kind and noble and generous, and that all is coming from the heart. But because you have a body, which is the lower chakras, and feelings, which are the lower chakras, and passions, which are the lower chakras, which is feminine, and you have the masculine, which is light, and it is thoughts and ideas and knowing how to communicate those thoughts and ideas, and that spirituality that we're trying to get our masculine side of ourself to connect to our feminine side of ourself through the heart. So the masculine is always this penetrating light. The feminine energy is the earthy, passionate sensuality that is moving up, and the connection is through love. That only through love can those 2 really understand each other and connect and balance. And so it's very important inside of us for us to find that balance inside our own being, first and foremost, because how can you love if you aren't balanced within your own masculine and your own feminine sides? So this number is a number of spirituality, and it is that heartfelt presence, that kindness that comes from, or is supposed to come from, priests and nuns and monks, and they're very loving and they're very patient and they're very considerate and they're very nurturing and they're very kind when they are obviously properly aligned and connected to both their masculine and feminine signs. It's why in the Vajrayana Buddhist tradition, the Yab Yum, which is the masculine and feminine merging in a sexual embrace, it looks again like those 2 triangles coming together. So you've got this, penetrating force of the masculine, and you've got this receptive, magnetic force of the feminine, and together they create this electromagnetic force. Electric, which is masculine; magnetic, which is feminine. So the feminine draws to itself by desiring, yearning. The masculine draws to itself through thought and the visual stimulation as it moves through. So in the dance of sexuality, just because of sexual positions. The feminine position is much more feeling oriented. The masculine position is much more visual. So naturally, the masculine is going to be more tuned in on a visual level than the feminine would be, and the feminine is more tuned in on that sensual feeling level than the masculine would be. And hopefully they learn from each other, and there starts to be that cycle. So the number 6 is the number of unconditional love. It is about spirituality. It's associated with Saint Hildegard, and she was a beautiful nun that was incredibly artistically talented. And so whenever you get this balance between the masculine and feminine, or you could think of it as the left brain and the right brain, great art comes from that balance, because you can't have great art if you don't have great structure, which is the left brain, and great creativity, which is the right brain, or masculine definition and vision, and feminine connection and flow. Okay, so you have to have both of those in order to create great art. So the number 6 is associated with artists. Now, healers are artists, musicians are artists, gardeners are artists, nursery people that are creating plants are artists. So there's a certain kind of art or technique to bringing those things together. Being a cook, to me, is an artist. I mean, it's colors and shapes and textures and subtleties and nuances. So the number 6 is a very artistic, creative expression of the present balance that is happening in your being related to your masculine and feminine sides. And so how they harmonize and how they work together creates beauty, creates art, creates something unusual. Where they don't connect is just still a place that you're actually working on a little bit. Now, the number 6 is also called the cave. It's called the cave because most spirituality was done privately, alone, in your own body, meditating, going Om Mani Padme Hum, right? So there's that place where you have to go inside into the stillness of your own heart. You have to get to know your own heart, your own spiritual self, in order to let that come out and emerge in a magnificent way in the physical world. But this is a number that can have a detachment to it. And if anybody's done art out there, the best art in expression comes from an objectivity and a detachment. So you kind of get into a mode, you kind of get into a flow where everything else gets sort of tuned out. So you become your own little cave, and you don't even realize that 4 hours has gone by. Like, oh my God, I've been in the garden 4 hours. Like, oh my gosh, I've been cooking for 4 hours. Like, time becomes irrelevant when you're in the throes of the number 6. It helps stop the mind. So this number is not a mental number. It's a feeling number. It's an experiential number. It's a going deep number. It's an inward, reflective number. So I want you to think of the places in your life that you are inward and where you are self-reflective. Maybe at your yoga class, maybe when you exercise, you analyze things and you come into balance. So you're doing this balance between the physical world, which is feminine, the mental world, which is masculine. So I've known a lot of people that have hiked and thought at the same time. Like, you literally watch them and they're actually thinking as they're hiking, they're analyzing things, they're putting things together. But that's that balance between those two. And it's also that place where you could be driving and having a conversation. My favorite thing is to have a conversation with my guides and angels that are in the passenger seat. So if I'm driving long distances, which I do a lot, I ask questions. I'm driving, so my left brain has to drive, and my right brain can actually have a conversation this way. And the trip goes much faster because there are moments that I go, wow, I don't even remember passing that town. I don't even remember how I got here. Oh my God, it's 6 hours. I'm already there. So things can pass, and so time sort of stops when you're in the position of the number 6, and it's called the hermit year. So when you're in a number day, that is a 6, if you add all the numbers together, it adds up to a 6. It's a great day to be introspective and self-reflective, and to have a little chat with a guide or an angel or one of your ancestors sitting in the passenger seat. And wait for that answer that comes in that is sort of a random answer that your brain goes, what? Wow, I didn't think of that. That's the one you actually want to go with. That's the answer that usually is the more interesting answer. A number 6 day is really great for meditating. A number 6 day is really great for exercising because it goes into a timeless place. And so many of the numbers are related to some sort of structure of time. But the number 6 is that infinite space, that it's a place of energy, really. And as a human being, we are a soul inhabiting a body, but our soul is energy, and that energy lives forever. It exists forever. Even if it transcends this physical body, that energy still remains. It just changes its form. So in that moment, it's like when you're in a day that's a number 6, or if you have a 6 in your numbers, that's that place that you transcend time and you move beyond the physical into the spiritual and the esoteric realms. It's a beautiful number for everything that's creative, life fulfilling, beauty enhancing, anything that really makes you go deep, anything that makes you go within and asks you questions and helps you find that stillness. So the number 6 is called the arc line, which is this rainbow. That is our chest. It's our heart. It's the expansion of our heart. So this arc line is a rainbow that is moving out from your body. And how can this heart, your heart, touch other hearts, connect to other hearts, which you are doing all the time, even though you're not consciously aware of it. So can you imagine what a huge difference it would make if you actually became consciously aware of it? And that's the game with numerology, is to bring you more into awareness of the energetic pattern of the day and how that relates to your yogic numerological pattern that I have in my book, or you can find on my website or whatever. But like, how does the number of the day relate to any numbers in your pattern? They may or may not, right? But it becomes your priority. So with me, because I was born in 1960, the number 6, if you add the 6 and the 0 together, my gift number in yogic numerology is number 6. So I love the number 6. I love quiet. I love a cave. I love solitude. I love peacefulness. I spent most of my life in basement apartments because I loved being kind of in that cave. I felt really safe. I felt really stable. It's quiet. You don't hear the sirens. You don't hear the police cars. You're in the ground, and it's this earthy, sensuous safety and stillness. So think of it like the caves that the yogis used to meditate in, or just any place in nature where you feel the quiet and the solitude, because the 6 calls to the quietness within your soul. The 6 is definitely more personal than it is external in the world. So it's not a public number as much as it is a personal number. It's an introspective number. So you need to go inside and find out who you are and what you want first. And then you take that out into the external world, which is actually going to be the number 7 with a new plan and a new strategy and a new structure. But when you're in the 6, it says, be still, know thyself, go within. You have the answers that you seek. The answer is not out there. The answer is in here. And when you discover that, it's a beautiful spiritual experience. So all spiritual transcendental experiences are in the realm of the number 6, the number 9, or the number 11. And it's because it's personal. It's a personal, intuitive hit. But the number 6 is more masculine in its approach. So it's sort of like the monk going in and meditating in the cave, which is a very masculine archetype. Whereas the number 9 is going to be a more feminine archetype, with how this flows. So think of even numbers as, so think of even numbers as masculine and odd numbers as feminine. So the number 6 is an even number. So, you want things more even. You're trying to find that evenness inside. You're trying to find that that balance inside your own core. You're trying to find that knowingness, that trust within yourself. Okay, enjoy.